Good evening. Holiday weekend drawing to a close. Let's see, get light a little bit better situated. Getting ready, going to make a pair of socks. Now, I did do a quick little swatch, and from this little toe swatch, I determined that this is 30 wide. All I need is 26 wide on each side, a total of 52 stitches around. Okay? What I'm doing, I'm using Longwood Sport Stripe from Cascade Yarns, which I have made many socks out of this striping yarn. Oh, well, I've used the solids too. But anyway, so even though I did this, I have decided I'm going to use 26 on each side. Okay, so I'm going to 26. However, I'm going to start with half. I'm going to cast on half of what I want the full instep to be. Okay, so pardon me. So, well, that of course would be 13. I want an even number because of the kind of heel flap that I do. It works best with an even number. So the math works out best, and whenever I have that, then I bump it up to 14. So I'm going to cast on 14 stitches each side for each sock. So 28 stitches around. Now, oops, I'm sorry, 20, going up to 26. So that means the heel gusset, whenever we do the gusset increases, times 2, it's going to be 52 stitches across at the end of the heel gusset, or heel gusset, at the end of the gusset. So we're going to cast on 14, increase 1 stitch each end every other row to 26 stitches, and then continue on until we need to begin the increases for the gusset. People make this part. How long should that be? I've heard everything under the sun. Oh, about 2 inches. Da 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 da. I'll show you. It's really easy to figure that out. Really, really easy. But anyway, so there's the extraordinarily complicated math used to begin making a pair of socks. Bravo, you getting zoomies? Okay, well, it looks like the zoomies already crashed and burned. Now, I will use two separate skeins rather, of this. And I believe, yeah, we're starting out with 2 reds. How much of that red is there? No, we're not going to cut all that off. But anyway, they are 2 different colors of red, but they'll be striping up differently. It'll be easy enough to tell them apart. I do not, I have done matching the socks exactly. I just don't find it as interesting as beginning at the whatever yarn comes out and going from there. Okay, if you've never done Judy's Magic Cast On, it is a Magic Cast On, right? Judy's, isn't it Magic? Last name starts with a B. Ba, 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 ba. Oh, well, now I'm going to have to look it up. Da, 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 da. Yeah, it is a Magic Cast On. So Magic Cast On, doing the magic loop. It's all great. And the needles, I'm really loving these needles. The Audi, where are they, turbo squared? Anyway, loving. I really fell in love when the first square needles that I got were Knitter's Pride. I've been an Audi fan forever. But anyway, Knitter's Pride. And now these with the extraordinary plating, and then the bumps so things don't slide off. But it doesn't slow you down either. So anyway, I'm really liking them. All right, so cast on. We need to cast on 14 stitches. Now with Judy's Magic Cast On, hold your needles, place them side by side like this. Now, what a lot of people do is they put them the same, they put them together like this. For me, I find it easier. I find it much easier to offset them. I'll show you why. Also, just like if you were going to do the long tail cast on, okay, I do not start with a slip knot. Okay, what have I got? I don't know. I've got about a foot length. Okay, now I have the needles. We'll call them front and back. And I have the back one lower. Okay, I have the back one lower than the front one. Now I have my working yarn over my thumb. I have it here in the front. So I am going to drape over the back. That's all it is, it's just draped over. So that does count as a stitch. So we make all of the front stitches from the back yarn and the back stitches from the front yarn. Okay? And it'll make sense in a moment. So that means I'm going to go outside and in. That's what we do with the back yarn. The front yard, we go inside and out. Outside in, inside out. Bring the back forward, down through the middle. Take the front, up through the middle, out the back. To the front, down through the middle, up through the middle, down through the back. Yeah, Bravo, you just had zoomies, so I think you're okay now. And then we need a nut. We're off, so we have always finish up with the front, out, down through the middle. Bravo, bravo, enough. Oopsie. Hold on, folks. All right, let's back to it. So now we're going to take front, in the middle, out the back. The back, around to the front, down through the middle. Front, up through the middle, out the back. The back, over the front, down through the middle. It really is that easy. I have no idea how many I have on there right now. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And so the front, up through the middle, out the back around the front, down the middle. Let's see what we have. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is your first pair of socks. I don't recommend this yarn simply because it tends to split. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And the front goes up through the middle, over the back goes like that, and one more. Oh, I think I did too many. I think I may have done one too many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 14. Got it. Yarn for the other sock. Gonna do the same thing for the other sock. About a foot long. Just scoot the other one further. Just scoot the other one out of the way. Oops, make sure our purl bumps are on the bottom. Adjust our needles and do the same thing. Have the tail going out the back and lay it over the back needle. And then back, out, down through the middle, front, out the back. Back, down through the middle, front, up through the middle, out the back. Outside in, inside out. Outside in, oopsie, outside in, inside out. And again, outside in to out. What do we have? We have 2, 4, 6, 8. And then if we just move the yarn a little bit, we can see the last thing done was on the rear needle. 8. And to the back, front in. Outside in. Up through the middle, out the back, under the front, down through the middle. Up through the middle, out the back, around the front, down through the middle. I think we need more. Up through the middle, out the back, around the front, down the middle. Up through the middle, out the back, around the front, down the middle. Let's see. That's the other one. Let's see. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Yeehaw. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and 14 twice. All right. Okay, and again. I'm going to twist that tail around just a little bit, just so we don't lose stitch there. Turn it clockwise, turn your work clockwise, flip it over, and now I'm going to pull that back needle. When you flip it over, it's your back needle. I'm going to pull it out. And if you used a long enough needle, I'm using a 47 inch. I've heard people use as short as like a 20, 20, what, 28, 29 inch needles. No, thank you. Who cares how big the loop is? But if it's too small, it is just a pain. So I use 47 inch, used 40s forever, and I found I like 47, and then I don't have to worry about it at all. Who cares if the loop's bigger? All right, so now ready to knit. And that is really all there is to it. Okay, what do we have? We have 14. So we have 3. Oopsie, sorry. And 14. And then just drop that working yarn, scoot the other sock down here, and let's twist this one over. I'm just putting the tail over the working yarn. You want to scoot this a little bit out of the way, okay? I moved it a couple of inches out of the way. Otherwise, it just makes this join right here hard to manipulate. If this has worked loose, just tighten it up. Don't strangle it, just tighten it up. And then begin to knit and tighten it up again. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 14. All right. Now, let's scoot these in a little bit. All right. Just because dangerously near the edge. Okay. Now, I'm going to turn clockwise. Now, to keep my balls untangled, I find one direction to always turn, and then, depending on where the cast-on tail is, then I'll know which way I need to go. I'll demonstrate in a minute. Nonetheless, right now, we're ready to knit this side. These are the ones we just knitted. Now we need to knit this side. So, you're just going to pull this other needle up here. Now, I do not push that needle in. Here's why. It can be kind of tight whenever both sets of stitches are on the wide part of the needle, okay, on the needles themselves. So I scoot it back to here, then, and hold on to your work, I slide the needle that I'm going to be doing the stitching with this time out some. Then when I have this one, I can hold the stitches and then slide this needle into place. Okay, and now I'm ready to go again. 2 socks going. Now it's time to knit the other side. Should still be 14 stitches on this side too. And 14. Yay! I'm going to scoot that down a bit. Get the tail out of the way. Just let it hang down. Move the second sock up. And knit across. Whenever I began making socks some years back, I can and have used double points. Don't enjoy it. Love the magic loop. I am so grateful. Okay, so now getting ready to turn. I'm going to pull my yarn up because I know I'm going to need it in back. I'm going to turn clockwise, and my yarn is here. And so what I'm going to do, because my tail is in the front, my tail from the cast on, I'm going to take the second sock's working yarn to the front also. As long as I always go in the same direction and move that second sock's yarn, working yarn, either to the front, because that's where the tails are, the front of the sock, or to the back, it'll keep my yarns from becoming, my balls from becoming untwisted over there. Once again, going to pull, line the needles up, not try to pull it through, pull the rear one out, hold your work while you're doing all this, and then push this one in. Yep, hyperhidrosis, a little bit of squeaking. Get the tails out of the way. Now, I put the tail here because what I often do is after I finish, I use the tail and go back and double stitch. Okay, rather than just work it in, I actually double stitch across that. It's not necessary, but oh well, why not make it useful? Now, this is my favorite increase for socks. And knit the first stitch. Let's zoom in. There we go. Knit the first stitch. Now I'm going to go down through the right side of the stitch below. Knit that, and then knit the stitch. That's the increase. Knit across to the next to the last stitch. And zoom back out. Until I get to the last 2 stitches. Zoom in. Okay, gonna knit next to the last stitch, go into the stitch below, pull up that left leg, knit through the back of it, and then knit the last stitch. Gonna move over, scoop the work over, scoop the second sock down to be worked. Gonna pull that tail down here on the outside. Okay, gonna knit the first stitch, then knit into the stitch below that second stitch, and then knit the second stitch itself, making 3. Knit across to the last 2 stitches. Okay, knit the next to the last stitch, pull up the left leg from the row below, knit through the back of that stitch, knit the last stitch. That is my preferred increase for socks. Here we go. This one's laying here, and you can see I just really like the nice straight edge that it gives. This is one of my favorite increases anyway. I use it for all sorts of things. Okay, so once again, time to change. I'm going to go clockwise, and tails are in the back, so I'm going to bring the second sock's working yarn around the back. Zoom back out. There we go. Pull the needle back to there. Pull the rear needle all the way out. Then push the front needle back to hold the stitches and make them ready to work. And increasing every other row. So, knit the first stitch. Go into the stitch below the second stitch, knit into that stitch, then knit that stitch, then knit across to the last 2 stitches, two stitches remaining, knit this stitch, pick up the stitch below, and knit into the back of it. Then knit the last stitch. Scoot this down, move the second sock up, knit the first stitch, knit into the stitch below the second stitch, then knit that second stitch, then knit across to the last 2 stitches, knit the next to the last stitch, pull up the stitch below, knit into the back of it, knit the last stitch. Should be looking something like this. Okay, makes, with those increases, it makes kind of a Y out of that stitch. And over time with experience, you'll see whether or not you did an increase on that row. In the meantime, I recommend, because it's not as easy to see if it was an increase row as, say, knitting through the front and back. And I'm going to take my yarn around the front because the tail is in the front. And so anyway, I would recommend, until you get experience, you keep, whether it's flipping a coin, having something laying nearby that you just turn over or something to let you know whether or not you're doing an increase row or you just did an increase row. If you need a clicker for odds and evens, whatever. And once again, the needle you were just using, push it back to the beginning, then pull the needle you're going to be working with, then push this one in. All right, that's it for now. Continue the increases until you have however many stitches you need. For me, it's going to be 26, going up from 14 cast on to 26 because I want an even, a number that is even, the half of my total size to be an even number. 26 divided by 2 is 13, not even number, so I'm making it a cast on of 14, working up to 26. And I will meet you after we get to 26, or you get to whatever number you're working to.